Again, I want to welcome everybody for joining us today. We're really excited. This day has been a long time coming, and with all the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've had to navigate them, and we're very excited that we had a successful virtual program for our 2020 professional fellows from East Africa. And we'll tell you a bit more about the Professional Fellows Program and you'll of course learn from the young entrepreneurs and innovators themselves. But the purpose of this workshop is to showcase the work that these young fellows have undertaken and then will undertake in the future. They've all designed individual projects, and so they will be showcasing those here today. So again, we're really glad you've joined us for this presentation, and hope that you learn a lot from the fellows. And I think we've been quite impressed with their work, and I hope you will be as well. Derek, next slide. So I'm the moderator. My name is Amy Jameson. I am the co-director of the Alliance for African Partnership based in our MSU office, and I'll be introducing the rest of our team in just a minute. But we wanted to do some quick things on housekeeping. So we wanted to let everybody know that the workshop is being recorded, and then we're keeping track of the questions and answers and the chat that that is ongoing throughout the seminar. Again, this is a webinar format, so those of you in the audience we won't be able to see your video or hear you. We can see you as participants in the workshop, and but we'd like you to introduce yourself in the chat box, and make sure to click if you want to introduce yourself to everybody in attendance. To send the chat to panelists and attendees, and that way everyone can see the different types of people who've joined us today for this session. We also ask you to please post questions in the Q&A box, and you should find that at the bottom of your screen on the right-hand side. At least that's where it is on mine. And then we will answer those questions at the end of each presentation, each section of presentations. So this is our overview of what we're planning on doing today. We've already done the housekeeping piece, and then this overview. We'll have some opening remarks by Dr. Rob Glue, and then we will have an introduction to our implementation team, as well as an overview of the Professional Fellows Program more broadly. Then we'll have presentations from each of the fellows grouped by country. So we have the Kenyans first. I think this was in alphabetical order. And then the Tanzanians, and finally Ugandan fellows. And then we'll have some closing remarks from Dr. Wynn Wright, who is one of the principal investigators of this program and one of the leads here. So now I'd like to introduce Dr. Rob Glue. Dr. Glue is the Associate Dean for Academic Programs in International Studies and Programs at Michigan State University. He is himself an Africanist, has worked quite significantly over the course of his career in Africa, and is a huge supporter of the Professional Fellows Program and Department of State programs as well. He's led several in the past, and I think he's been a great advocate for us and for our fellows, both at MSU and more broadly. So I'd like to welcome Dr. Glue to give some opening remarks.
Well, thank you, Amy. It's great to be here to have the opportunity to say a few words at the opening of your dissemination workshop. It's hard to believe, it seems like yesterday, but it's actually been about, I think, 4 weeks since I was able to make welcoming remarks and talk to you about some of the dimensions of the program that I saw as important. Let me also say to all of the fellows, congratulations for the hard work and productive time you spent leading up to your dissemination workshop today, where you'll share and talk more about some of the projects you've been working on. And also just want to once again express our sincere gratitude to the Department of State and Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs for the support they've provided We've been able to have many successful partnerships, as Amy mentioned, over the years. And I don't know if Ann's joined us, but do want to mention the appreciation for the support. And I'm not going to be too long-winded here because there's a very rich agenda, but if you recall the fellows, when I spoke to you several weeks ago, I did mention a couple things, and I'm going to mention them briefly just to leave you with those thoughts. And first, one of the things I mentioned was your participation in this phase of the program and the overall program more generally. I'd encourage you to view this not as the end, but really the beginning of our relationship and partnership. We are very interested to stay in touch with you here at Michigan State University and to work with you to identify future opportunities. Second, we encourage you to continue to build your network and access the resources that you've been able to during the program through the Alliance for African Partnership, our African Studies Center, and the many faculty and community colleagues you've been able to engage with, but also among yourselves as individuals and professionals and across our partner universities in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And then I'd also mentioned the nature of partnership, which really involves a two-way engagement. And I would encourage you to bring forth your good ideas with regard to our future collaborations and work, and assist with the identification of potential sources of support for those future activities. We have tremendous expertise across this partnership, and I'm very optimistic that we'll be in touch and looking at these future opportunities very soon if we haven't already. And then my last word, if you recall in January, I mentioned that your participation in this program now makes you members of Spartan Nation. And at that time, I had told you we have 500,000 alumni living and working in countries around the world, and you are now part of that community. So hopefully we will be able to move our work from the virtual, which has been one tool we can use, and we do hope to see you in person one day very soon. So once again, congratulations and good luck with your dissemination workshop today.
Thanks so much, Rob. We really appreciate the support from you and others in the leadership at MSU, as well as you mentioned the Department of State and their support on this program. Now I'll turn it over to Derek, who is the program manager and is the main thrust for keeping this program going. He's really done a lot of work to keep us moving forward. So Derek, thanks for all your hard work, and please take it away.
Thank you, Amy. I appreciate it. And thank you, Rob, for such wonderful opening remarks. So I would like to just introduce the Professional Fellows Program more broadly. As mentioned, it is a program of the U.S. Department of State, Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. And the program is a two-way exchange that brings emerging leaders from around the world to the United States for intensive fellowships designed to broaden their professional skills and expertise. Now, the fellows are placed at nonprofit organizations, private sector businesses, and government offices around the country when they're able to come here in person. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we had to do this cohort virtually, but that allowed us some benefits as well. We were able to really include a lot of our in-country partners more and our alumni network more. So we were really fortunate to be able to do that this time. Our program focuses on advancing young women, agribusiness entrepreneurs, and innovators. And we build capacity along 4 cross-cutting themes, which are innovation and entrepreneurship, gender and agri-food systems, personal development and success, and marketing, finance, and governance as it relates to agribusiness. Now, the program more broadly focuses on different themes, but these are the ones that our fellows are specializing in. And during the program, fellows develop an individual project plan that addresses a challenge in their communities that they put into action upon completion of the exchange. So those projects are going to be shared with you today, and we're very much looking forward to hearing more about those. To date, MSU has hosted 59 East African Fellows, 47 of those in person, and the final 12 virtually. So with that, I will pass it back over to Amy.
Thanks, Derek. A little challenge on muting. Okay. Thank you, Derek. And now we want to acknowledge our team for the Professional Fellows Program. First, we want to acknowledge Ann Shu, who's our grants officer representative from the Education and Cultural Affairs section of the Department of State. She's really been essential to guiding us through these waters of implementing the program, and then especially during this time of COVID, she's helped us navigate the virtual components as well. So thank you, Anne, for your support. Then we have partners on the ground in the countries where the program is recruiting fellows. We want to acknowledge Dr. Harry Kaburungi from Chiambogo University. She is the director of the Gender Mainstreaming Directorate there, and has been a long-term partner of MSU and really essential to even this virtual program. She's done a lot of work in this space. We have at the University of Nairobi, Dr. Agnes Mwangombe. She's professor in the Department of Plant Science and Crop Protection, also a longtime partner of MSU, and someone I've worked with very closely. And she's been essential to supporting our Kenyan fellows. And then we have at Sokoine University of Agriculture in Tanzania, Dr. John Jekonia. He's senior lecturer in the Department of Developmental Studies, and I believe he's director of the gender unit at Sokoine as well. Again, a longtime partner of MSU, and has really been engaged with the fellows on the ground in Tanzania, supporting their work. Our MSU-based team, we have here leading our team is Dr. Wynn Wright. She is, as I mentioned, associate professor from the Department of Community Sustainability and the Department of Sociology. We have myself, Dr. Amy Jameson, co-director of the Alliance for African Partnership. My partner in the Alliance for African Partnership, co-director, Dr. Jose Jackson Maleti. We have another unit that's essential to delivering this program is the Center for Gender in Global Context. And we're led there by Dr. Rebecca Irvine, who's the interim associate director of that center. Next, we have Dr. Jane Payumo, who is critical to knowing if we're doing everything well and what we need to fix. So she's head of research, evaluation, data analytics team for Ag Bio Research here at MSU, and does the evaluation for our program. Lisa Forget is helping us coordinate this event today, and has helped us coordinate especially this virtual component of the workshop, and so we want to acknowledge her support. We have Carrie Hatcher, who's the Assistant Director of Finance in International Studies of Programs, and she makes sure our I's are dotted and T's are crossed. Very important job. And then Derek Tobias, certainly last but not least at all. He keeps everything running. Derek is our program manager from the Alliance for African Partnership, and the main program implementer for this, this fellowship. We want to also acknowledge our Michigan-based partners and mentors. We have, over the course of the 3 years that we've been implementing this program, had strong support for on-the-ground local partners in Michigan. The Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, Greenstone Farm Credit Services, GGS Genetics, Michigan Food and Farming Systems, Michigan Farmers Market Association, the Allen Neighborhood Center, and Swallowtail Farm have all hosted fellows from East Africa at their institutions, and many of them are also then serving as mentors in our virtual program. We have Abby Eaton, who's from MDARD, Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. We have Dr. Deborah Amelin, who is an alumni of the program and is a faculty member at Makerere University. Dr. Wynn Wright, who I mentioned is the lead PI for this program. We have Prithvi Raj Reddy Madala, who is actually based in India and was a close colleague of Derek Tobias and was very excited about engaging with our program. We have Lori Yelton, who's also from MDARD, Ann Rauscher, who's at Swallowtail Farm, Peter Lemmer at and Elena Feda, who are at the Greenstone Farm Credit Services, myself, Amy Jameson, Mike Green from GGS Genetics, Jen Silveri from the Michigan Food and Farming Systems, and then Dr. Simone Valle de Souza, who is a faculty member at MSU. And we really appreciate the efforts that they've put in to support our fellows during this virtual program. So now it's time to hear from the fellows. Without further ado, starting with our Kenyan fellows, we're going to begin with Belinda Kiraya, who's a Sustainability Officer in Sustainable Management Services. So I'll invite Belinda to give her presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning for those who are Hi.
Hi, Belinda, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Belinda Kiraya. I work with Sustainable Management Services Limited. Sustainable Management Services is a subsidiary company of Ecom Agroindustrial Corporation. Our main activities are in coffee marketing, farmers training, and project management. So in this project, I'll be addressing the issue that youth face in coffee farming. So the topic of the project is on managing intergenerational sustainability challenge that we have in coffee through the integration of youths into coffee farming. So in most of the coffee growing families, youths are less engaged in coffee farming because they view it as a low income generating and tiresome activity. Hence, they are less interested to take an active role in it. As their parents age, there will be a gap in production because in most cases, you'll find that when the parent has died, that will be the end of coffee production in that farm. So this poses a great risk in coffee sustainability because after their parents, nobody is coming up and willing to be like an active coffee farmer. If today you visit most of the coffee cooperative societies that we have in Kenya, you realize that the highest number of members is 55 years and above. So the question is, where are the youths? What activities are they being involved in? So what we will be doing in this project is to train to bring in youths into coffee farming by training them on coffee value chain and why they should be involved in coffee farming as a form of business. The methodology that we are going to use is on training the youths and creating the sensitization on why they should be involved in coffee farming. So at the end of this project, we intend to directly train 200 youths about coffee. We want also to have more youths taking an active role in coffee because we'll be creating awareness on the economic aspect of them being involved as coffee farmers. So in conclusion of this project, we want more youths to be coffee farmers to ensure that we have sustainability in coffee production, increased volume, improved yield and quality of the coffee produced, and also creation of new income streams to these youths so that they can at least involve themselves directly into coffee production. So as a conclusion to this, if we invest in youths, we'll be investing in farming, and investing in farming will also be investing in our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Belinda. That was excellent. If you have any questions for Belinda about her work, about the programs that she is supporting these in coffee farming, please put those in the Q&A. It's at the bottom of your screen. There's a little button there and you can ask that, and we will direct those questions to the fellows at the end of the session. So thanks again, Belinda. We really appreciate learning about the work that you're doing. Next, we have Mary Embaccio. Mary is the founder of Owema Farms in Kenya, in Kilifi. So Mary, welcome.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Embaccio, the founder of Owema Farms in Kilifi County in Kenya, doing poultry farming. I'd like to introduce to us my project, and the topic is improved livelihoods for marginalized group in Kilifi County through agribusiness. To start us off, let's all picture this scenario. You need to feed your family, travel to and from work, get your child's school supply, and all that you have in your pocket is $1.9. That seems like an impossible scenario, but unfortunately, across the globe, some families are in that state. From the global perspective of poverty, studies have reported that 689 million people survive below the poverty line. That is $1.9 a day across the globe. In Africa, we have 422 million Africans facing the same challenge. And Kenya is not an exception, as we have 23.4 million surviving on $1.90 a day, majority living in Kilifi, Kakamega, Kitui, Mandera, and Turkana. My objective is to improve the livelihoods of this group through agribusiness. And how do we realize this objective? Number one, we shall offer training workshop for poultry farming that is targeting 200 women and 100 youth. Number two, collaborate with other stakeholders and get free chicks as starting capital. Number three, provide ready market for the ready chicken. What outcomes do we expect? Number one, steady source of income for the marginalized group, reduce youth unemployment, a dilemma that leads them to engage in drugs, substance abuse, violence, and unpleasant activities within the community. And last one, poverty reduction within Kilifi County. Why should I be the one to implement this project? I have witnessed families struggle to bring food on the table. The picture at the top of my poster shows one philanthropist known as Mombasa Cement donating foodstuff in Kilifi County. Personally, I have engaged some women and children who always walk miles away to get these supplies that could only last them for 2 to 3 days. We thank the philanthropists and the well-wishers who provide donations, but I believe we need a permanent solution to improve the lives of these families, and that is how this project was born, to train people, give them skills so that they can work for themselves and generate their own income. I believe poverty cannot be left in the hands of one stakeholder. Hence, we all must act to see the change that we want for our people. Everyone in the community, both young and old, must play their role in fighting poverty and ensuring the aspirations and the hopes of marginalized groups are met. As I finish, I quote Ms. Fit, no matter where you are in life, inspire and empower a woman around you. Success is never reached alone, and wisdom is sweeter shared. So my invitation to you is that should you find this project a viable project, which I believe is, it will be our pleasure to have you on board as we purpose to develop people's potential and make them financially stable. Thank you.
Mary, thank you so much. That was a wonderful presentation. Really appreciate that. Again, please put questions for Mary in the Q&A. And now we will go to our next presenter, Kathy Mbando, who is the Community Liaison Officer for Asali Natural. So Kathy, I will turn it over to you.
Oh, thank you, Amy. Asali Natural is a farmer enterprise. Our activities revolve around beekeeping, the economic empowerment of farmers, and environmental conservation. We are currently working with 30 beekeepers in a project we call the Every Acacia Tree for a Hive. The project purpose is to combat charcoal burning by encouraging farmers to suspend beehives on the acacia trees. We buy this honey from the farmers at a premium price. So the acacia tree also doubles up in enhancing honey production during the flowering seasons. Acacia is one of the most sought after honeys in the world. However, acacia tree flowers is seasonal, thus affecting year-round honey production. So it's for this reason that we recently introduced flower farming. The flower you see on the slide is called the Regium. It's a summer flower. Just like the acacia tree, these flowers play a double role as they ensure year-round honey production as well as income from flower sales. We have 2 farmers on board doing the flowers, and we are exporting to Netherlands. We have partnered with a sales and marketing firm in Netherlands, and they're called the Flower Handling Company. We have so far pushed around 3 shipments since January. That's when we started on flowers. And these shipments have been worth $5,000. We purpose to work mostly with women and persons with special needs on the flower project. Now, our model is such that we are pushing the honey through retail stores locally. We are also selling directly online. And on the honey project, we now have about 20 farmers. On summer flowers, as I mentioned, we have an international market. We are pushing our flowers through the Flower Handling Company in Netherlands. We purpose to include 5 varieties. And this is a niche market with high margins that I'm very excited about. And as I mentioned, the flower section is one that we are going to incorporate at least 50% women and persons with special needs. Now, 20 years ago, my home village was literally flowing with milk and honey. Today, we are categorized as a drought-stricken area. Our mission is to renovate the ecosystem through our beekeeping activities, and that's why we envision a vibrant ecosystem where the honeybee thrives and the farmer is economically empowered. We purpose to grow our farmer networks from 20 to 50 in the next 5 years. And for the flower project, our plan is to have 50% workforce comprising of persons living with special needs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Excellent work that you're doing. Our next presenter is Linda Wameya, and she is a training officer in the community-based Community Changers organization. So Linda, welcome.
Thank you. Okay, as you've heard, my name is Linda Wameya from Kenya, working with Community Alliance for Change, or maybe Community Changers, as you can call it. But we are Community Alliance for Change. And we are doing food security, income generation, and women empowerment, among other projects to empower women and even the youth in our communities. In this fellowship program and this, I'd like to introduce my project to you. It's about poultry for sustainable, self-reliant, and income generation. And our goal is to enhance food security and rural economy through agribusiness and value addition. We are targeting women and the youth in Trans Nzoia County and its environs that are being implemented in our country, Kenya. And in summary, as we all know that the women need empowerment and the youth with skills, technologies, and hands-on practices along the poultry value chain. Sorry, my internet is a little bit bad, but I'll be back. I'm back. So the project seeks to enhance and empower target women and the youth with skills, technologies, and hands-on practices along the poultry value chain and create lasting solutions to the current food insecurity, nutrition, and low income that is being experienced among the youth and the women within the county and even the country at large. As you all know, food insecurity and low income is a concern, not just in Kenya, but in the developing world. Women as homemakers are affected most with this, and this is being contributed most by their inability to access land, capacity, that's loan, and that will enable them to venture into small businesses, not forgetting even their reproductive roles that are hindering them even to be productive in the world, in the economy. So we believe when these women are empowered with agribusiness skills, them and the youth will impact the rural economy as well as the agriculture market. And this will trickle down to household food security and nutrition. Thus, we'll have children who are well fed and not malnourished as they currently are. And our activities that we're going to undertake in this project are sensitization and mobilization of communities, training and establishment of demo sites. These demo sites will be training centers for poultry value chain, production, and even marketing of the products, the poultry products. And we'll do follow-ups, we'll monitor and evaluate our projects and write reports, just to mention but a few. And the impact of this project and the involvement will be a proposed project will impact 300 women and youth indirectly, and directly will involve 30 youths and women who will be trained directly on the poultry value chain. Our long-term vision is to be a leading commercial poultry farm and egg chick production enterprise in the North Rift and Western counties of Kenya, as well as nationally. We want our chicken and eggs to flood the nooks and granaries of the country and its neighborhood. There we have a chicken. When women are empowered, they'll be and educated, they'll educate their children, they'll get more education, they'll be financially secure, they'll have nutrition and health, and they'll be able to create and expand and diversify into other enterprises. Just a small livestock that like chicken will make a great difference in Trans Nzoia County. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Linda. And I see the questions are rolling in. So now I'll invite, I've chosen a couple questions for each of the presenters. The first question is to Belinda. Do you have a specific approach you will use to ensure that youth get motivated to be part of the trainings in your work?
Yes, I think we have different approaches that we can use for the youth to be motivated to take part in coffee farming. Because the first approach that we are going to use is to sensitize their parents or the coffee members, the importance of them bringing in youths into coffee farming. So after sensitizing the members who are the parents, we can tell them now they can at least in the next farmers meeting, they can at least come with their youths so that we can meet with them for the first meeting. After that, we'll now engage with them directly. What we usually try to do is to support them maybe on those for a one-day training so that most of them can turn up for the training. We usually give them like the bus fares and the lunches part for them to be motivated to be coming for the trainings. So the first approach you want to use is to sensitize their parents. Why should they involve the youths in farming their coffee? And the next thing is, why should the youths be involved in coffee as a form of income generating activity for them? Thank you.
Thanks, Belinda. Next question is for Mary. The question comes from, I think, Crystal Kayuka, who's asking, may I know how did you select your products to be targeted to do business? Were there any indicators you used for your choice of products?
Please come again, Amy.
So Crystal wants to know, how did you go about selecting the products that you're targeting in your business? What indicators did you use to make that selection?
The product for poultry farming or what products? I don't understand the question.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what she's asking. Mm-hmm.
Okay. The business I've been doing for 2 years now, and the product that I use from suppliers called Kenchik here in Kenya. They're known for best quality in terms of chicks, and their feeds are also well. They are also good and affordable. And also they offer training to startup farmers. That is why I settled for Kenchik.
Okay, great. Thank you. So the next question for Kathy, is the drought you mentioned the result of climate change or of inappropriate water use?
How
For
old
example,
are the
for,
youth trained in your project?
Oh.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, was that Mary? Hello?
It's Belinda. Sorry. I was
Oh,
reading
sorry.
a question. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. So Kathy, is the drought you mentioned the result of climate change or of inappropriate water use, for example, for flower farming?
Oh, okay. Thank you for that question. It's very interesting. This region where I'm doing this flower project has not. This is the first time I'm introducing them to flowers. So climate change, yes, and mostly because of cutting down trees. So remember, I mentioned every acacia tree for a hive. So yes, because of charcoal burning. Charcoal burning is very prominent in that area. So guys are cutting down trees, and therefore, then it's impacting on the environment. So yes, that's why I also came up with the project Every Acacia Tree, to preserve the trees and to see if we can rejuvenate the environment.
Thank you so much, Kathy. I think a question for Linda. There's a question about how will you handle the spillover effect of the intended project to non-participants?
Okay, thank you for that question. Of course, when you're doing poultry project, especially at a rural level, the spillover will be there. And as an organization and as a project, we will be forming CIGs, we call them Center of Interest Groups, to recruit more members and and the demo set that we are setting up will be incubation centers for the chicks, for incubating and hatching eggs, and selling the chicks to farmers. So when spillovers are there, we'll be able to handle them through the Center of Interest Groups. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda. So now we'll come back to Belinda. There's a question from Prof. Muyodi from Makerere. Coffee takes long to mature and give yield. How will you handle the problem of patience in youth to wait for the yield?
Yes, coffee takes, currently we are trying to create more sensitization on planting the grafted varieties, which take two and a half years to start producing. If they start producing, you'll be harvesting at an interval of 6 months. So what we'll be training the youths is they can engage themselves in other activities besides coffee. So they'll be doing diversification. Maybe they can plant some vegetables as a side income for them as they await the maturation of the coffee. Plus, I can also add something there. You see, if I harvest coffee today, the first harvest is maybe in April. So by August, I'm supposed to be getting some income. After that, the next harvest will be in December. So let's say with an approximated time in in March, I'll also be getting some income. So besides this coffee income that I'm getting, I can also involve myself in other agricultural productive activities like poultry keeping, growing bananas, growing vegetables, among other crops that they can venture in as they are doing coffee farming.
Thank you so much, Belinda. The next question to Mary, this comes from Dr. Amelin, a alum of the Professional Fellows Program. In poultry farming, feeds are key. Have you considered rearing of insects such as black soldier fly larvae for animal feeds in your trainings? Or could you speak more broadly to the feed issue? There's a couple of questions on feed for poultry farming.
Thank you for the question. Okay, we have not incorporated training on feeds manufacturing, but that's something we would want to do later as the project progresses, because it also requires too much of time and investing, but it's something that we should incorporate later as the project goes on. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mary. Now turning back to Kathy. There's a question about the challenges that you have faced while expanding your business. Could you talk a bit about what those challenges have been and some of the ways that you're...
Challenge that I'm getting, especially at the retail stores, is the misconceptions about honey. So raw honey, usually unprocessed honey, usually crystallizes. So when they go to the retail stores and they crystallize, a lot of people think that it's been adulterated. So that's also a challenge that I'm trying, I have been facing every day. So how I'm addressing this challenge, the misconceptions about good honey is basically by educating the takers. So mostly through, there are some who I talk to on phone, I have direct contacts with, and others, mostly I also do just send out information on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and I also educate the workers, the workers in the shops, so that those of them who have time will take the customers through the whole process and explain to them why their honey is crystallizing. Of course, for honey production, that's why I introduced flowers, so that when the acacia trees are not producing flowers, we have these other flowers that the bees can feed on and produce honey. And then now with the flowers, actually, I have a good problem. My problem is keeping up with the demand. My current customer in the Netherlands is pushing for more flowers, yet I only have 2 farmers. The reason why I cannot keep up with the demand at the moment is because the infrastructure for setting up a flower farm and the cold chain is quite expensive. So once I have addressed that, maybe gotten funding for that, then yes, we can send as much flowers as we can afford to the customer.
Thanks so much, Kathy. And then the last question for Linda. There was a question about how you engage farmers in your work. Are you doing it individually or through groups? And how would you ensure sustainability after the project?
Okay, thank you. This project targets farmers, women farmers and youths, both individually and groups. But mostly we'll be focusing on groups. That's why we are going to form center of interest groups. And these groups will be having the leaders who will be foreseeing the project after implementation and ensuring that it's sustainable. And also about the sustainability of the project, the farmers themselves, because the project or the innovation is a profit making, they'll be able to sell their chicken, sell their eggs, sell the chicks they've hatched to even non-members, and they'll be able to get an income to sustain the project and sustain themselves as well. And also these groups, the farmers will also venture in other projects that will enable sustainability of this project. Thank you. Other projects like honey, like crop production, that will make sure that this innovation is successful and sustainable. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Linda. And I hope we can all give a virtual clap to the Kenyan Fellows. quite impressed with the work that they're doing, and I'm also impressed with all of the questions that are rolling in. We can't address them all given the shortage of time, but want to make sure that the networking can continue through the Q&A box and through the chat. Also feel free, I see a lot of connections here possibly forming, so also feel free if you're comfortable sharing your contact details in the chat as well. So now we are pivoting to Tanzania, another part of East Africa. And we're going to invite the first fellow from Tanzania to present. That's Esther Mhonda. She's the Enterprise Development Officer from the Clinton Development Initiative. So Esther, I will turn it over to you.
Hello, everyone. As Amy has introduced me, my name is Esther Mhonda. I work for Clinton in the Foundation as an Enterprise Development Advisor. The project that I want to present to you is titled is the Equipping Women for Success, Empowerment, and Entrepreneurship in Iringa. This project is basically focusing on two main themes: women's empowerment and the entrepreneurship. My experience working with the women in the rural areas enabled me to see challenges facing women entrepreneurs in growing their enterprises. And so the main activity of this project will be a short course training on entrepreneurship skills and financial literacy, which will enable rural women in Iringa to acquire knowledge, competences, and attitudes necessary for self-employment in the entrepreneurship sector. My motivation to undertake this project came from women entrepreneurs themselves who identified the need to grow their business. The vision of this project will be mainly in increasing entrepreneur capacity of rural women for improved income. The action plan that are needed for the project to be fulfilled. First, I plan to share the information with my supervisor that I'm going to undertake this project, which is a result of me being. After that, I will finalize the project training plan and then contact the local authorities, sensitize them so that they can be aware of what I want to do in their areas. After that, I will identify and select beneficiaries. I then implement the action. Then lastly, will be monitoring,
Oh, Esther, your internet is cutting out a bit.
learning and reporting.
Esther, could you repeat that last
to
piece?
The impact and the involvement. The people that are going to yes. Impact environment and influence.
Esther, I think we've lost you. Just give it a couple of seconds. Esther, are you there? I think we may have to come back to Esther to finish the presentation due to, oh, Esther, are you there?
Yes, I'm back.
You're back, thank you. Yeah, yeah, I think you can repeat just the last little piece that you were saying.
Okay, the last piece that I was saying was about the impact and the involvement. And here, the target is presenting the target people that are going to be impacted by the project. So there will be direct people and indirect ones. The people who will be directly involved in the project is 20, but the ones who will be impacted by the project indirect is to 100, which means I'm going to concentrate on 20 women, and these 20 women, I'm going to train them TOT, trainers of trainers. So they each will have another 10 women. And so making the 200 the total number of people who are going to be impacted by the project. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Esther, and thank you for an excellent presentation. Next, we have Seth Charles Mkisi. He's the founder and CEO of Shamba Box. Seth, are you there?
I don't think we have Seth.
Seth might have a connectivity problem, so we can come back to Seth. So we can go to Brenda Mutembe, who's the Secretary General of the Ronhim Foundation. Brenda.
Yes, good afternoon to everybody and a very good morning to those of you on the other side of the world. My name is Brenda Mutembe and I represent, or rather am a part of Ronhim Foundation. I'm one of the founding members as well as the Secretary General and the Communications Coordinator. So Ronhim Foundation is a non-governmental organization for women by women in Tanzania, and it's fully managed by a team of young women who have vast experience, some of which is in livestock management. And basically our foundation has been established to help empower women by increasing the number of women participating in animal husbandry through providing them with sufficient tools, information, and linking them with the right linkages, as well as the best veterinary service providers as a means of ensuring that their produce, that is the broilers, are in excellent condition and are able to compete with the market threshold. So, executive summary. Based on experience with working with poultry farmers across Dar es Salaam and Pwani region, which is neighboring Dar es Salaam, through supplying them with veterinary pharmaceutical services under Ronhim International, which is a partnering company to Ronhim Foundation. It's a veterinary pharmaceutical service company. So basically they supply medicine, which is goes along the lines of antibiotics, dewormers, and vaccines, as well as equipment such as ear tags, syringes, and needles to help sustain the health of livestock across Tanzania, not just in Dar es Salaam, but other regions as well. And so, yeah, so basically Ronhim Foundation, from my colleagues and I founded Ronhim Foundation through being able to work with Ronhim International, and we were able to identify a means of eradicating poverty by reducing the gap that currently exists among women and male farmers, as well as by capacitating women not only to become farmers, but to become sustainable commercial farmers, because we identified Kisarawe as our focal region, district rather, which has about 50% of its women who are in farming as subsistence farmers. So the commercial farming percentage is quite low. So yes, so we want them to become sustainable commercial farmers, starting out with poultry farming due to the readily available markets in Dar es Salaam and neighboring regions such as Pwani region, which is where Kisarawe is. We chose Kisarawe in Pwani region as a focal location for the Ronhim Wekeza na Kuku. So basically, the title is Ronhim Wekeza na Kuku project. Wekeza na Kuku means invest with chickens. So Kuku means chickens or poultry. And Wekeza is investment in Kiswahili. So after identifying an alarming rate of 71.4% of the unemployed women in Kisarawe, and 50% of which, as I mentioned, are involved in subsistence farming, according to Tanzania's Demographic and Health Survey. And according to Tanzania's Demographic and Health Survey and Malaria Survey indicator from 2015 to 2016. And this project aims to help and empower 600 women across 3 villages, so 200 women in each village, namely Masaki, Kibuta, and Mzenga. And we hope to cover at least 5% of the population within the next 5 years. And also, can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so the vision is to catalyze the growth and development of livestock production through gender inclusion, hence raising the standard of living in rural Tanzania, improving literacy rates, increasing business activities in the rural farms, and alleviating poverty, which meets the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. And our objectives, the objectives of this project are to train women, to facilitate poultry farming management from subsistent to commercial, to provide women with good production models, creating linkages for organized marketing and business management, providing subsidized vaccination and husbandry tools to ensure the livestock produce, or poultry in this case, meets the market thresholds. And also our target audience are women between the ages of 18 to 40 years within the 3 villages in Kisarawe district in Pwani region. And justification, the project will work together with potential stakeholders, donors, members' contributions to accumulate resources for building poultry housing, feed, medicine, and purchase of the chicks. The target audience will be screened through social distance protocol interviews, and the project will monitor and evaluate the progress of each of the workshops. And finally, I'd like to thank Ronham Foundation and Ronham International, as well as the MSU network and the fellows present. Yeah, that's about it.
Thanks so much, Brenda. I
Sorry, I
appreciate
kind
that
of
proposal.
went on and on.
No, you're okay. And then we'll also come back to some questions where you can elaborate on some of this as well. Okay. So then we will move on to John Wilfred Ngalamba. He is the director of Galaba Farm and Agri Consulting Limited in Tanzania. So John, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everyone.
Hi, John.
I'm John Wilfred Ngalamba, as I was introduced. I'm the director and co-founder. I'm the director and the founder of IJA Entrepreneurship Group Company Limited. Actually, what we are doing is we are providing access to markets for the marginalized farmers, because we are intending to promote sustainable development goal number 1 through agricultural activities, in which we promote local farmers so that they can have access to market, and afterwards they can improve their living standard. So in another way also, we help the city, because we are located in Dodoma. We are trying to facilitate the accessibility of food. We ensure food security in the city of Dodoma. So we provide door-to-door services. And we also, we have an online store where people can do shopping through it, in which all the produce are from local farmers, they're fresh produce, and most of them are vegetables and fruit and cereals. So people can purchase, and we have integrated our system with our local payment systems. And also right now we are developing a smart card payment system so as to ensure easy payments. So, so there the website, and as I just explained, through this system, we ensure that local farmers have access to market. Also, we provide extensional services, in which we have a partnership with the VIG, which we provide in provision of extensional services. And we do provide free delivery services from the farm to the households, and others like schools. We supply in schools, hotels, households, and restaurants. In customer side, what we provide service, the service from us is that we save time for their shopping. Also, we prevent them from chaos, from local market chaos. And in addition, all the produce that we are supplying, we sell them at a local market price. So we don't want them to have any chaos on accessing the produce from the farmers. And in doing so, we are saving the problem of post-harvest losses, because in Tanzania, each year we are losing more than 30% of total produce in vegetables and fruits. So by doing so, by having access to market, this statistic is according to UNSAF records, and also by the statistic of FAO shows that 1.3 billion tons are getting to waste due to lack of access to market. So we are providing through a digital market, which is called Agent Store, for local farmers to have access to market. And also we ensure that food safety is in place. Yeah, thank you. And also, apart from that, we are also trying to, we have a future project for the farmers database, in which we want to, because there's a leakage right now for the farmers and the government and different stakeholders to have access to information. So we are making a system where we'll be having a farmers profiling, in which it will help the ward agricultural officers to collect the information from local farmers in what they have in the farms, in what their names, and when they're going to harvest. And then afterwards, they will be posting to the district level, and then to go to the regional level, and afterwards you go to the national level, in which for any person who wants to access produce from any place, they'll be able to get information from the offices, and also from the government offices. And also it will enable the government to have proper statistics on this sector, because this sector employs more than 60% of total employment in Tanzania. So it has a lot of number of people, but then it has challenges to, especially for the losses, post-harvest losses. So we are trying to integrate the technological issues towards the problem that farmers are facing. And also afterwards, we'll try to implement the community-supported agriculture, in which farmers and consumers will be able to work together. They'll be able to, for consumer, they'll be able to provide cash in advance, in which farmers, they'll be using it and for the farming, and afterward they'll be supplying to the consumers whom they have engaged with them. So we are trying to make this system work for the society. So that's what we are doing, and we have different outlets here, so as we can reach out easily to consumers as well. Thank you.
Thanks so much, John. I appreciate it. I think Seth has had a difficulty in being able to join due to network issues. Is Seth on yet? Okay. But so we'll move to the question and answer. Thank you all for the wonderful presentations. The first question is for Esther. Esther, this is from Dokas Alowo, who is one of our alum, professional fellows alum from Uganda. She's asking, I'm wondering what criteria you will use to choose the 20 women-led enterprises out of so many in your area. And there's also another question about the type of enterprises that you might target. Can you expand on that a bit?
Sorry, what's the question?
So they're wondering what criteria you will use to choose the 20 women-led enterprises out of so many in your area. And another related question, like what industries or what areas would you target in terms of entrepreneurship? So how will you choose your 20 women beneficiaries? Esther? No, we might be having some challenges, internet challenges. I'll move on to a question then for Brenda. Brenda,
Yes.
I think this is from Lori Yelton, who's one of our mentors. Will subsidizing the costs of veterinary medications be enough for farmers to... Oh, hello? Okay, a little bit of...
Hello?
Okay, so Brenda, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Okay, wonderful. So the question coming from Lori Yelton from MDARD, will subsidizing the costs of veterinary medications be enough for farmers to afford those medications?
Yes, because when I say subsidizing, essentially we already are partners with a veterinary pharmaceutical supplier, and we hope to partner with more of them. And they are currently willing to reduce their prices to up to even a quarter, just to encourage women to be able to, partake in the poultry farming. So we know for sure, because it's one of the hindering problems. We did a survey and a lot of them complain about the Newcastle disease and the fowlpox disease that discourage them to engage in poultry farming. They think it's expensive because they complain a lot about the prices of vaccines. So some of the vaccines that are government funded will definitely be given for free, and the ones that are sold will be given at a very, very low price, just to ensure that the quality of the broilers is consumable, and it meets nutrition standards, and to make sure that obviously the people that they're selling to are not going to get sick. So definitely we're trying to cut across all the sustainable development goals, when not just poverty, but also just food security as well, to make sure that the food is of standard, and which will also in turn widen the market and demand for these broilers, and encourage more and more women to partake in not just rural Tanzania, but also urban in the future. But right now we're focusing on rural because that's the most affected area in terms of poverty and unemployment.
Thanks so much, Brenda. So the next question is for John. Are you aware of the efforts by the government of establishing farmers database, and how have you cooperated with them?
Thank you for a good question. I have tried to communicate with a ward agricultural officer about on how they collect information from farmers in the database. They said for the time being, they don't have a system for that, but they're trying to implement. They are facing a lot of challenges in making everything work together. So they appreciate the movement that I'm making, and they say it's going to work very well for them, because right now they don't have even really information on how many, let's say, in a certain village, how many farmers are producing, in what extent, in what type of crops. They don't have real actual information. So through this system, they say it's going to work very well. And we are also still communicating with the regional, here in Dodoma, regional commissioner, and he said he is there for us. He can cooperate with us on how things, to see how things are going to work.
Great, thank you, John. Is Esther, are you there back now with us? It seems like Esther has had a challenge. Okay. Well, I would like to again give a virtual round of applause to all of our Tanzanian fellows for their presentations and their thorough answers to the questions. Again, I encourage you to engage with the questions in the Q&A and in the chat, share information, network across. I think that's a good outcome of this event would be if people can begin to network with each other who are working on similar challenges and issues. So thank you, wonderful job to our Tanzanian fellows. Now we'll move on, last but certainly not least, our Ugandan fellows, our Ugandan cohort. We will start with Sheila Alumo. She's the founder and CEO of the Eastern Agricultural Development Company Limited. So Sheila, are you there? Okay, looks like Sheila is not able to connect. So we'll move to Santa Akanyo. And Santa is an agricultural extension facilitator in Kitgum district in Uganda. So Santa, I invite you to present.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Santa.
Yes, my name is Santa Akanyo. As priorly mentioned, I'm the Agriculture Extension Facilitator for Prelno project, and I have been in agriculture for close to 3 years now. Being in agriculture, I've been working with the farmer groups on mainly crops, and in the community, I have realized that we had a lot of challenges being in the north and undergoing through our 20 years of insurgencies. We found that farming was destabilized, and extension advisory services were focusing mainly on crops. And if animals, then those are ruminant animals. But the small animals like the pigs, the rabbits, and the chicken were neglected. So in that, I chose to start an animal production training center. And in this center, I'll be providing knowledge on animal production. Specifically, I will be providing knowledge on feed mixing, pest and disease management, breeding, cost benefit analysis to ensure profit analysis, financial literacy, and market linkages to the farmers that I'll be working with. I intend to work with a total of 240 women and men, and those people like in 15 groups, and in each group there will be 15 members, and in each of that group there will be at least one lead farmer. So how I'm going to do this is to have this, if I set up the animal unit, I'll have a breeding center, and I intend to breed these animals. Then these 15 lead farmers, I'll give them the boas or the bucks or the cocks, the male animals. So these animals that will be given, that are given to the lead farmers, will be able to breed the animals of farmers that are in that group. So that is how I intend to ensure that the project is sustainable. I also intend to reach half of the beneficiaries by August 2021, that's this year. And the benefit that I'll get, or the community will get, is that if I undertake this project and all is successful, I'll be creating market for the pigs, for the rabbits, and for the chicken that I'll be rearing. Besides that, creating this center will be like a resource center where the farmers can come and get animal-related queries can be answered from that farm. Then also, at the end of all these farmer groups, I will expect them to be in a cooperatives where we can do a collective marketing, where we can do experience sharing and see how best we can progress. This project is still at the initial bit, at the inception point, but I intend to upscale it. Thank you very much. The budget for this project is $5,000, of which some part of it are already put up, as you can see in the pictures. Yeah, that's briefly what I can say about this project. Thank you, and I give acknowledgement to the Swallowtail Farm, where I have Han as my mentor, Michigan State alumni, and all the people that had been presenting and mentoring us throughout this process.
Thank you so much, Santa. Thanks for a great presentation. Next, we have Remy Nakayima Bishanga. She is the Human Resources Manager of Art of a Child Limited. So I invite you, Remy.
Thank you, Amy. I'm Remy Bishanga. I work with Art of a Child Uganda. At Art of a Child, we exist to improve the well-being of children, youth, and women through arts education, modern literacy skills, and entrepreneurship skills by implementing the agro-farming innovation skills. Art of a Child, we work with women, children in communities, and we chose to do the poultry project as part of the skills offered by our Women Leadership Hub. We've empowered the women with several skills and the girls, and we've decided to do poultry farming as a way of integrating literacy and agribusiness skills. Our poultry farm will work as a demonstration project to our group members, where they will learn how to keep chicken and realize their potential as an income-generating activity. And we also chose this project because it will be easy for the women to adopt to their homes, and this will also improve their standards of living since they will be earning. One of our main objectives is to economically empower women and girls and children in the community with entrepreneurship skills, to improve the nutrition of the children and mothers, to identify and train young farmers. Since we deal with children, we thought of making them appreciate agriculture at a younger age, other than seeing it as a business for the old. Then we also intend to train women and young farmers in project leadership skills, and also to to also substantiate the profitability of the chosen activity, poultry breeding, and scale of eggs and off layers on the domestic market, like to create a market of our products. On this project, we'll be working with 100 women in this very community, and our future plan is to take it to all the communities where we are based, that is Masaka, Potpoto, and Bulu. We intend to start with 500 chicks, and this will take us 12 months to construct. The whole project will take us 12 months, and after that, we intend to market the products, that is the eggs and the meat, and also sell the products, and then we stock for another season based on the outcome. Then benefits, we intend to give all group members at least 10 birds each for a startup, and we also offer free training and consultation for our member groups, and we also intend to empower women to be financially independent and be able, so that they can be able to take care of their homes and pay school fees for their children. So with all these projects, we will have solved the problem of food insecurity and poor nutrition, and would also have empowered women to become financially independent and be able to sponsor their children's education. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Remy. And now to round out the Ugandan group, we have Caroline Aliamo. Caroline, are you there?
Yes,
Caroline,
I'm there.
Let me introduce your title.
Okay.
You are the project assistant for CAB International, or CABI. So Caroline, please welcome.
Yes, as introduced, I'm Caroline Aliamo. I work for CABI. I support in project coordination and implementation in Uganda. And my talk is going to focus on addressing unemployment among youth and women using the integrated crop and livestock farming. Next slide, please. Yes, the project that will be based in Butaleja district in Eastern Uganda will focus on addressing unemployment among youth simply because of the high levels of unemployment in the country at large, but also the area specifically, and then the biting poverty levels and relatively high school dropout rate, especially among women and among the young girls that leaves them disempowered. Also, 75% of Uganda's population is constituted by the youth. And currently, Uganda's national unemployment rate is at 9.2%. Whereas that one on the unemployment rate among youth alone is at 13.3%. So I thought it is wise to curb the vice from moving on to the next generations. And also Butaleja, the choice of Butaleja as a project site is just because it's in Butaleja district that you find grandmothers as young as 30 years of age. And this is attributed to those reasons that are put across, that are put above, the unemployment and school dropout. And then also, so the overall goal of the project is to equip the young smallholder farmers with the skills and tools they will need to maximize benefits of integrating the crop and the livestock. So I plan to target 5 farmer groups for a start. These farmer groups will provide practical and actionable training required to integrate this crop and livestock in a way that is, first of all, affordable, profitable, and sustainable in nature. So I will also embed the monitoring, learning, and evaluation to track the progress and the impact of the project. Let's go, next slide. So far, what the progress so far is we've acquired 30 acres of land, and that one I plan to use as demo sites. As you can see, some future structures have already been set up. So the demo site setup is in progress, and then also recruited a technical staff who will be coordinating this kind of project. The estimated budget to help run this for 1 year. This is a 1 year's project, and our estimated budget for the project is about $8,000, and we hope to obtain this through grants, membership contributions, cash and in-kind contributions from stakeholders and well-wishers like you, our dear listeners. And then what are the outcomes we expect? At the end of the project, we expect to see enhanced knowledge in crop and livestock integrated farming and management. And then we also expect to see quantifiable increase in crop and livestock production and productivity from the current levels. And then we also expect to see improved food quality and safety of both crop and livestock products, thus reducing chances of zoonotic diseases warding off from animals to humans. And then also we expect to see to see the farmers managing the crops and livestock diseases better. And that way it minimizes the misuse of the agrochemicals. And also we expect to see job creation along the different value chains that the farmers will be engaged in. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, to ensure sustainability of the project, we shall work with existing enterprises, already existing enterprises, as you can see in the slide, the goats, the turkeys, the bananas, the cassava and coffee, and even African indigenous vegetables. We will strengthen also the linkages between the project beneficiaries and existing government programs like the Operation Wealth Creation. And then we'll also link beneficiaries to resources that help them address the plant and livestock disease problems. As from my other colleagues' presentations, you realize 30 to 40% of the losses are due to pests and diseases. So that is key to be addressed to minimize on such losses. And the key stakeholders of this project will be the farmers who are the beneficiaries, and then Busole Town Council, Butaleja District Local Government, of course, the district hosting the project, and then CABI, the organization that I work for, is because the mission aligns with this. Its mission aligns with this, the theme of this project, and then the Ministry of Animal Industries and Fisheries, and then National Research Organization, NARO, and academia for research and other things. Next slide. Yeah, briefly, I would like to acknowledge all the people who have made this possible for us. Yeah, and I thank all the teams mentioned here, and even those not mentioned directly. You know, the role you've played, I appreciate so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Caroline. So now we'll field a couple of questions. I know we're running short on time, but I hope you are all able to stick around and hear this, and then we'll just have some brief concluding remarks after this Q&A. So the first question is to Santa. Santa, this comes from Professor Miyodi in Uganda. These extension services are highly needed in the region. The challenge is frequent disease outbreaks and feed in those animals you have identified. What plans do you have to handle those problems in order to have the business be sustainable? Santa, to you. Santa, are you there?
Oh, sorry, my
There you
microphone.
are. No problem.
Yeah, actually, I had that question. The question is about how to manage the diseases outbreak. Yeah, we know that there are very many projects that are being undertaken by the government, even at local level, whereby the government supplies veterinary medicines to the veterinary officers in the department. So that is one channel that I will be using to acquire veterinary drugs for the treatment of the animals. Then also, there may not be much that I can do at individual level, but I know that if I inform the relevant authority of the outbreak of a particular disease, that is a step forward into ensuring that that disease doesn't spread into the entire community. So to summarize it, I would actually use these two channels. I would survey, I would carry out this disease surveillance, and accordingly, I'll inform the relevant authority, of which in this case, it is the veterinary department.
Thank you so much, Santa.
Yeah.
The next question for Remy. Remy, there's a question about what criteria you're using to select your beneficiaries. Could you speak more about who the beneficiaries are and how they're selected?
Thank you, Annie. As Out of a Child, we always recruit women and children from the community. So we'll basically consider the women who are part of our daily activities. And so we are basically, all the beneficiaries are part of us. They are the children we mentor and the women we skill.
Okay, thank you so much. Oh, go ahead. Oh, thanks, Remy. And then Caroline, we have a question for you. How are you going to measure your impact as compared to other projects since these farmer groups have existed for 1 year? What new things are you going to bring to these farmer groups?
Thank you for the good question. Measuring impact after at this time after projects have been running is quite a challenge. But I plan to conduct a baseline study before going on to the implementation of the project. And then I will also do some periodic assessments at mid-project and at the end of the project. And therefore, I'll be able to compare the data from the baseline study and then at the end of the project and see it will give me quantifiable increase results in terms of quantity, but also in the terms of knowledge uptake. I'll use the knowledge, attitude, and practice survey to gauge that from the beginning of the project and at the end. So it will be specific to those particular enterprises that the farmers will be engaged in already. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Caroline. And again, I give a virtual round of applause to our presenters from Uganda. This is an incredible job. All of the presenters from Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. I'm so impressed with the work that you're doing. I can see from the interaction in the chat and the Q&A that others are quite impressed as well. And I hope that you'll be able to make some connections with those who are in attendance today to support your great work. So thank you so much, and congratulations to all. Now I'll turn the microphone over to Dr. Wynn Wright. As I mentioned, she's the lead of this project, and she's an associate professor in the Department of Community Sustainability and the Department of Sociology. And she has done a lot of work and research around women in agribusiness throughout the world, in Europe and in Africa. So Dr. Wright, I'll turn it to you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Amy. Let me just say these presentations have been wonderful, and I've been really impressed and so diverse. What I noticed is that you're doing such high quality work, and we're so thrilled to be a part of that, quite honestly. I hope you've learned some things in our program. But clearly you are excelling at the work that you're doing there in your respective communities. So I just want to say a big congratulations. It was so thrilling to see some images of the work. It was also thrilling for us to see the sunshine in your photos. Today it's about -2. I just looked on my phone. It's very cold here, so I was thrilled to see the sunshine, but it was also thrilled to see how you're empowering other people, especially women farmers and others that are so vulnerable. It's great work and important work. It's good for Americans to learn about the excellent initiatives that you're doing. So keep in mind that this is a two-way street. We do think that we're learning from you each time we interact. So thank you and congratulations on work very well done. A student of mine once said that international collaboration was a bit like getting a kick in the pants. And what she was trying to say is that it was motivating, and it certainly is motivating for us to see the wonderful work that you're doing. But it's also a time to learn from each other and to make new friends. And I hope that you will think of this as a new community in which you now belong. As Dr. Glue said at the beginning of our presentation today, you're now part of Spartan Nation. And we do take that seriously. We want to continue to be your linkage to Michigan and the United States, and to continuing education and collaboration here in the United States. Agriculture might be the common language that brought us together these past few weeks, even though we all speak different languages. But I hope that you've learned much in this program as we have, and that we can continue this dialogue together down the road. I want to say a special thank you to all of you for taking the project so seriously, for coming forward and doing your best, even with the challenges of connectivity and internet. I know we're all eager to get back to face-to-face relationships and interaction. I know I am. But I want to thank you for your commitment and the energy that you've displayed. I want to say a special thank you to Derek also for doing such a great job. There's a lot of work that goes into pulling off a program like this, especially when it's unexpected or on the fly, as we had to respond to the conditions of the pandemic. So thanks to Derek for his wonderful grace and leadership. He's always very professional. I want to say a special thank you to the Department of State for being our funder, for supporting us and help navigating these difficult times. And I want to also say a special thank you to all the mentors that are out there who've been with us for 3 years now and have graciously taken on the role of mentoring the fellows in the Professional Fellows Program. You know who you are. There are many of them online today. So thank you for your contributions to this program and to this particular cohort. A special thank you also, I see so many former fellows on the program today. That was exciting. Lots of names from previous cohorts that popped up in the chat were exciting. I think it would be a great idea to do this once every quarter or once a month, who knows, but wouldn't it be great just to have a Zoom call with all of our fellows and get an update and learn what they're doing. Certainly, you're all doing such exciting work. So I just want to close by saying thank you for the opportunity to teach me and for the things that I have learned in the past few weeks being with you. And I hope that you will look upon this, your participation in the Professional Fellows Program, as something that's elevated the work that you are doing and in your home countries. And we wish the best of luck for success in those projects. And we hope that we will be able to see them one day face to face. Thank you.
Wynn, thank you so much for those closing words. And again, a huge congratulations to all the fellows on their successful completion of the program. We're proud of you, and we are looking forward to all the exciting things to come. Thanks everyone for attending. We will be posting a recording of this session online. And so we'll be sharing that link with all of those who attended. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.